Okay, today I'm going to teach you how to cover an event. So let's say you are attending a parade, you're attending a concert, or a 5K, or maybe a marathon or something that's happening within the community. With any story, you need to include the 5 W's and the 1 H. These 5 W's and the 1 H are the key questions that you need to answer in your story. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. So the first question is who, right? Who is important to talk to? Who are the key figures, the organizers or people involved or the people who participated? Who are the important people that played a part in the event? And when you interview people, when you cover a story, you need to at least get 3 people to interview. This is a really good base to have because typically it's not just a one and done sort of thing. You need to have different perspectives, and when you involve more perspectives, the more the better, because it gives an accurate depiction of what actually happened instead of just one person's perspective. And that is another way to eliminate bias from your story. Also, don't just interview people that you know. Reach out and interview people that you don't know. And if you notice that you're drawn to a certain type of person, you need to change that. Like if, for example, you're more comfortable approaching and interviewing women, next time you need to include men. You need to diversify who you talk to. That is very, very, very important. So that's who. The next one is what. This question should answer the question, what happened? And basically just describe what happened at the event. Pretty simple. Who, what, when. Just tell the date that it happened. Who, what, when, where. Describe where it happened, whether it's in the city or at a specific location. It's a good thing to include. So who, what, when, where, why. The last W. So this question should answer, the question should be, why should people care? You should answer that question in your story. Yeah. And the last question, the H is how. So how did this event come to be? You need to, anyone can give a synopsis of what happened at an event, but it is up to you to write from your unique perspective and write it with an interesting angle. So let's say if someone were to run a marathon, instead of just saying, oh, this many people participated, the first person who crossed the finish line came in with this time, it would be much more interesting to highlight a single person. Whether it was the first person who crossed the finish line or maybe somebody who really struggled in the race and they have an interesting story. But the only way to find those interesting stories is by talking to a lot of different people. So you can find an interesting angle, but typically it's through interviewing people and talking to a lot of different people. So yeah, those are the 5 W's and the 1 H. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. So when you write a story, you need to quote people. There are 3 different things that, a structure that I like to follow. You need to quote people, you need to paraphrase what they say, and you need to describe what happened. So if you quote someone, you put what they say in those little quotation marks. It needs to be written verbatim, exactly how they say it. And so sometimes people don't say things very concisely, and that's where paraphrasing can come in. But you cannot put words in their mouths. You have to kind of cut and paste what they say to form a more concise, shorter sentence. So that's quoting people, paraphrasing, and the last one is describing. Try to paint a picture with your words. Describe in a way that leaves your opinion out of it. So instead of saying, "Oh, the event was magnificent," you can't use adjectives that describe your own opinion. You can use adjectives that describe what happened, like the runners briskly ran across the finish line, some drug their feet and slowly walked across the finish line. But you see, there's different ways to describe what happens, but try your absolute best to eliminate your personal bias from the description. So I'm trying to think. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, just remember the 5 W's, the 1 H, and the three things you need to include within a story: quoting people, paraphrasing, and describing. And you'll be good.